Yo, what is up, my dudes? I'm back with another video. This video will be titled The Dead Alive video game, as this was actually after Kirby and the Forgotten Land was actually released, that I had a dream, about this video game that I was playing in the dream, and it was about my favorite anime called Dead Alive, where I was actually playing as Shido, Itsuka, by the way, which I will be going into heavy detail with the final boss, because it's honestly my third favorite of all time, which is insane. But first on with the stages, and then I'll get to more of the other stuff. The stages, I don't remember all of them, but one of them was this, like, climbing one, where there were, like, these rainbow-like platforms that I remember having to climb and stuff, and then you would have to actually jump, like, over, like, certain gaps, like, which was, pretty cool. Another one was similar to, actually, Indiana Jones, where there were these spike, traps, where you would have to actually press the button, and then run past the traps of spikes before they would actually get you and actually damage you. And there was actually one that was short and then one that was longer, making you actually really have to run to actually do that. And another one was this really short, not short, small, actually, pathway where Shido was actually riding a bike. And you might be like, okay, this seems easy enough. No, get this. The platform was as small as the wheels. So one mess up on the freaking controller and you're dead. I'm surprised I didn't die during this part, because there was a part where I had to make a U-turn in that actual part, and I actually almost fell off doing the U-turn. And let me just say, I'm surprised I didn't die during that part, and the final boss. I'm surprised I didn't die during the final boss either. But but on with the actual story, as the story was actually some of the darkest in Dead Alive history, with actually Isaac Westcott actually typical. Yes, he was still the villain. Yes, I know it's kind of boring having him be the villain again, but at the same time, that's mainly what Dead Alive was actually known for in actual villains, besides actually Kurumi being my waifu, and then Mio during the actual final arc, which I don't know, she wasn't really a final boss though, so I mean, it's not really, she was a villain for like a short time, wasn't really a villain that much, but I mean, she was just overshadowed is what I'm trying to say. Westcott took the spotlight, blah 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 blah, he's the final boss, blah 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 blah, basically, in both Dead Alive and the Dream, still. But the story was basically Westcott was actually trying to actually take over the world, which actually gave me Bowser's Inside Story vibes when I got to the final act of the game, was actually having, before the final boss actually took place, there was a cutscene, of literally everyone actually coming together, basically, Kurumi, Natsumi, even Kodori actually came in, along with everyone else, will not mention for time constraints, we're actually going to fight against Westcott. Westcott was actually, upon this point, he had actually actually summoned this dark purple mist, which is actually similar to the dark mist that was in Super Mario Bros. Wonder with the Bowser Jr. boss fights when he goes into his Wonder form. It's similar to that type of mist, but this is where it gets dark. The freaking story gets dark because Westcott actually summoned this actual dark mist surrounding the actual castle, which I actually like to call DEM Castle, which is the name that I gave the castle. He actually made the dark mist surround the castle, and then he had actually had. There was another actual what's the word? There was another shot of the dark mist actually surrounding other parts of the world. Basically, us, Shido, and the spirits, and basically everyone on the planet, mind you, would have, if Westcott would have won this final boss, he would have actually ruled the world and actually actually basically took every one of us with him, including basically us, ourselves, basically. Us, the spirits, and Shido, basically, all would have been consumed by this, like, dark mist type stuff that he had actually summoned, and then Westcott would have actually ruled the actual world, which for Data Live standards is probably some of the darkest story-wise, besides some of my friends' fanfics, of course, which I will not go into, because some of them are way more actual mature, so I will not go into some of those ones here. If you want to know, just check them out for yourselves. But after this insane cutscene, comes the final boss. Now, this is the height of the game for me, because mainly I just love this actual final boss fight so much that it's actually my third favorite final boss of all time. Yes, I count it. I don't care. I still count it. Now, the first phase of the boss wasn't really a boss fight. It was more of a cutscene of Kurumi actually fighting against Westcott, blah, 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 blah. Not really that interesting. But once that cutscene was over, Westcott transforms into his giant form, lamely, again, just titled Isaac Westcott. And how do I know it was titled that? Well, get this. You know, the boss font from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, right? Get this. The boss font actually appeared right before the actual fight actually began, just like it does in Kirby and the Forgotten Land for each boss. Yes, it actually did that, which I thought was really, really cool. And then it's Westcott it was gonna summon one of his first attacks on me. Get this, the freaking health bar from Kirby Star Allies actually also appeared, which with the actual sound effects and every thing actually starting this final boss with actually a few Kirby references, which I thought was really, really cool. But I'm with some of his attacks. Unfortunately, I don't really remember every single one of them, but this fight had some pretty cool attacks. He actually, right after the health bar actually appeared, he actually summoned these, like, giant meteors that I had to actually, weave around and get closer to him to actually punch him and actually deal damage. And side note, I actually punched him so hard that if I was reenacting this in real life and I hit a wall, like in my room, I would have broken at least all of my bones in my hand, because that's how hard I had punched. And yeah, on with his other attacks. One of them was one that I had talked about in one of my other actual videos, where he had actually grown Shredder Claws and actually started chasing Shido actually around, which actually trying to slash him for one of the longest attacks in the game, mind you. This attack went on for at least 20 seconds at maximum. But I mean, get this, guys. This final boss actually gave me a humongous just ignore my dog in the background. And then he had actually even used India's Angel for an attack too, which I don't really remember what he did with that actual angel, but I do actually remember him using that as an attack as well. I just don't remember what he did. My favorite attack though was the spider shredder claw thing, because I literally was having such a blast with that this final boss gave me the biggest adrenaline rush that I have ever had with the final boss fight. And the only actual time that I had a adrenaline rush with another final boss like this final boss was with Reclusa from Mario and Luigi Brothership, which actually was nice that I actually had it was actually refreshing to have another huge adrenaline rush that was similar in sense it's just for another final boss, which I thought was cool. But overall, I wish that this actual game actually was on the Switch. Was it short? Yes, but especially after Dead Alive Spirit Pledge was actually taken down, I actually wish they would actually make this into an actual game. Will it happen? Most likely not, because I mean, I just highly doubt that they would do that. But I mean, overall, I do wish this was an actual game, personally, because that dream. Have you ever had a dream where you're so engaged, where you don't want to wake up? I was like, dude, I cannot wake up now, dude. I have to finish this game first, before I actually wake up, because that is how actually engaging this game was, and actually would be nice for a Switch game, actually. But that is going to be it though, guys, because I'm running out of time. If I could keep talking, I would. But until next time, peace out.